Boxing King Media in association with Boxro. Delighted to be joined by Ebanie Bridges in your beautiful home. I do love your fireplace, even though you've got a Christmas tree in it.
Got the Christmas tree, yeah, you know. See how long it lasts before Gracie kills it.
Good stuff. Ebanie, obviously, we've done loads of interviews recently. We've spoken about your fight experiences, and I've always wanted to catch up with you and kind of talk about your life leading up to the moment where you've got to now, which is like a successful businesswoman, boxer, world champion. So I know you've done these type of interviews before, so I've watched a couple of them, and I wanted to kind of ask you stuff that's probably not been covered before. So I think I want to start off initially, like, I know you had a troubled past, something that you don't really want to talk about too much. So just for the people out there, a lot of people don't know, obviously you come from in your teens, you've spoken about it openly before, you were a drug user, you know, you had a really tough past.
Yep.
And you kind of grinded your way through it and went through your teens and become a teacher.
Yeah.
Just give me like a really brief overview of that.
Yeah, so obviously I went through a lot of traumatic things early on in my teens, which, you know, led me down the wrong path with the, you know, wrong people, got mixed up into a lot of stuff, and then, you know, I came to a point when my parents pretty much saved me, and, you know, they had a lot to do with the direction in which I changed. And then after that, I kind of looked at it as I had a second chance at life, because I was going this way, which was going to have a very fast dead end, to now I'm on a new path. It's like I was not born again Christian, but I was born again. I had a second chance at life. So I've always thought of that deep down, and I've always thought, you know what, I've got a second chance at life. I've been saved, and I want to make the most of it. And I want to also use my experience and my hard times and what I've been through to help others. And that's why I became a teacher, because that was originally why I became a teacher, because I thought, you know what, I want to be there for the kids that might needed me. Like I would have liked, not that my parents weren't there, but you don't want to talk to your parents, you know what I mean? Sometimes teachers can have a really big effect on your life. And I thought, if I can be a teacher, I can identify these kids that might have the same troubles as what I had and going through the same things, and be able to offer them support and advice and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the main reasons why I became a teacher. And when I first started teaching, I taught in a very rough, troubled school. It was Indigenous Aboriginal school program, a very low, disadvantaged school program. So everyone that was there was like, it's all council kids, and just horrible. Like when you think about it, when I think about the kids, and I remember the first few days that I went there, like I'd go home and I'd be wanting to cry, thinking about like what I'm seeing in school and the kids, and how sad I was for what I saw and what I knew just in the first few days. So that's why I originally wanted to become a teacher, because I believe what I've found through my experience is you just need to believe in yourself, and anything is possible. I gave up on myself in my teens. I completely gave up on myself. I just gave up on my life, and I just wanted to throw it away, and I just didn't give a fuck. And I think that's why I was going down that road. And then when I changed and I chose this new path, and of course I had the support of my friends and my family, and what I went through, to learn this new mindset, and certain mentors around me to help me with this mindset. I wanted to give that back and teach it to others. And I can swear on my life, and I can say this with complete confidence, that ever since then, everything that I said I'm going to do, I've done everything. So that's why whenever I jump in the ring and I say I'm going to be a world champion, or I'm going to win, or I'm going to be undisputed, I know it's going to happen. And I have so much belief. And, you know, it doesn't matter what you believe in. It could be God, it could be the universe, it could be faith, you know, law of attraction, whatever it is. But having that belief and that manifestation, I'm so believing in that you have a destiny and a path, and that everything happens for a reason. And I know all the stuff that I went through was so I could be where I am now. And my boxing is just the transport, or just the ship in which I'm using to push my message and push my real purpose in life, which is to inspire, to help, and to help change people's lives, really, and people's mindsets, and just open it up. You know, like I originally wanted to do it as a teacher, thinking I could change, you know, 30 kids in a classroom or 100 kids in the school, depending how many classes I took. But now I'm so blessed that I've actually got this huge platform, the most followed female boxer on social media, that I'm able to push that message and what I believe in and my story to inspire more than just a classroom. And when I finish boxing, I want to go do talks and do motivation seminars and inspire more people, because I believe that's really why I went through everything I went through, is so I can truly help people change their lives. And even if it's just one person, I say one thing to just make them believe, you know what, I can.
What you touched on there, I know you said it in previous interviews, you don't really want to talk about the past until you're ready for it. But I don't know if you're able to because when you say things like that, you can imagine people are going to be thinking all sorts in their heads. Your brain's going to be running wild of I wonder if this happened to her, did that happen to her, etc. But just give me a typical example of I'm not asking you to give me the whole day or whole experience, just one particular day where you can remember a certain instance which is it's a past that you won't never want to go back to. Just maybe just share one bad experience with us that you think, you know what,
God,
that's the kind of shit life that. Because I want people to rather than imagine it.
Oh man. I don't know, I'm honestly going to get emotional thinking about it. And this is the reason why I don't want to talk about it, because it is very negative and it's very hard. And I'm in such a positive place that when I think about my past and bad things, I don't want to, not ruin, but I don't want to bring that into the positive as I am now. I'm not ready for that. And it's kind of why focus on negatives and bring negatives into positive when it makes me feel like this. There's plenty of things I could say, but yeah, I don't know. Fucking, I could be dead. Bad things happened, and yeah, it's.
Because I see that troubles you, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But the people that you probably mixed with. Going back to Australia, obviously you've been back since your success. Have you ever bumped into any of them similar sort of circles of people, and have they come up to you and approached you? And
I have some people, good friends, that know me from the start till now, that support me, and they know that I've been through. And anyone that does, my family and everything, they're so proud of me because of obviously everything I've been through, and it's something to be very proud of. And not many people know it, but I've had people that come up to me and I don't even remember them. I don't, and they tell me stories. Oh, I remember this. I'm like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to remember any of that. I'm sure there's people. I've had people reach out to me, but I cut away from that life on purpose, and I have no interest in bringing anyone back into that.
Have people reached out to you for money? Because that's quite common with success.
Not past people, just randoms. I get random messages all the time. Can you, the whole story, it's like an essay, and I just get through 3 lines, and I'm like, man, I'm not a freaking money, but I'm not Mother Teresa. Do you know what I mean? But I just, look, only a couple more years left in my boxing, and then I'm sure it will all come out, and I can talk about it without it wanting to affect my positive little bubble that I'm in. But like my mother says, it's not just negative for me, it's negative for everyone. If I start talking about those bad times, those traumatic times, it doesn't just put negativity on me, or it doesn't really just bring it all up, all the emotions up and the distress up for me. It brings up all the emotions and the distress up for my family. It's a fucking traumatic time and very stressful for family and everyone that was involved in my life at that time. So I don't really fancy doing that for everyone in my life. I've got to think about other people as well. Me talking about it, especially with the name that I have in a big thing, all my mum's friends, all my parents, all my brothers, they're like, whoa, and then they got to relive that. I don't really want to fucking relive that right now, because I'm living the fucking dream right now. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about timing and stuff, and I think just not really, it's not necessary for me. I know telling my story will inspire a lot of people, but I know that I inspire enough people right now with just being me and where I am now and the progress that I've made and what I've done in the last 18 years or 17 years is enough to inspire. And my job and my goal right now isn't to inspire all these people with all these other problems. It's to become undisputed, to inspire people in the way of my journey right now. And when I'm done, then I can open up my next goal, which is to travel the world and do motivation seminars and open the open the inspiration to other people that would not realize. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like more things. Like I do a lot of work, like, you know, for like the recovery runners, who's obviously they're all about, it's about recovery addicts and things like that. So I do always try and put as much as effort into helping people with my causes. You see the people that I back and the things that I back, and all the kids stuff, you know what I mean, just because it's really dear and close to my heart. So I still want to try and inspire and give back, and it's all about not judging, you know what I mean? I don't judge anyone, and that's why it doesn't make me upset. It makes me angry when, say, people like Shannon O'Connell tries to judge me because of the way I look. They don't know my story. Just like...
Just on that, you know, because I'm on a button because he said on the way you look. You obviously took up a job of being a ring card girl. That was one of your first kind of jobs in that field. So I want you to think back, do you remember what you was getting paid compared to obviously...
I was probably getting paid more than some of the fighters. Like, I get paid 500 to 1,000 a night. Like,
wow.
Yeah, but I'd be also flown around Australia to doing it. I did it for 10 years. Yeah, I got paid a lot. A lot for that, if you think about it. Like, I don't know what it is now, like I said.
A typical week for Ebanie Bridges, because you was doing that, and I think you said you had 3 jobs at the time.
Yeah, I was
Go on.
Sorry. Yeah, so I was doing that. I was bodybuilding. And I was working in a bar. So I was working in a bar. I was managing a gaming bar, VIP. So I actually used to work in, like, you know, gamblers. So I don't know if you've seen Molly's Game, but pretty much that's what I did. I would host gamblers, look after them, give them company, play machines with them. I'd do, like, it's just like hosting, without going into too much detail, but I did that for all through my 20s, I think, while I was doing university. I studied university of mathematics, and I was tutoring, and I also prepped girls for bodybuilding. So I did nutrition, and I was one of the main posing coaches in Sydney, helping the girls get ready for stage, teaching them how to do the posing like what I do on the scales, but even more so. And I did that for 12 years. I only gave that up at the beginning of COVID. I gave up the coaching, the bodybuilding coaching. I still had like 5 clients at the time, and it was at one point where I had 10, you know, but I'm really like, my girls that I coached for bodybuilding, they're like my kids, my daughters, and I'm so all or nothing. So these girls, they become my life. And I know what it's like to prep for a bodybuilding comp, and they need that attention, that love 24/7 on the phone, because when they're cracking with their diets or whatever it is, you need to kind of be there to keep them motivated, because it's freaking hard. It's so much harder, for me personally, I think it's so much harder than boxing. So you have to be there for them. And so I was doing that, working in a bar, tutoring, studying full-time, bodybuilding, and then when I stopped bodybuilding, I started boxing, so I was still doing the boxing as well.
So what was you doing with your money? So that's a lot of jobs, and obviously probably a decent amount of money. So what does Ebanie Bridges spend their money on in their 20s?
Well, I saved a lot of my money. I'm not really a spender. I saved a lot of my money. All my money went into my training. Like, when I first started boxing as an amateur, I was traveling like an hour and a half, 2 hours to my boxing gym, to be in the boxing gym. And that would cost me like $160 a week in fuel, $150 a week in tolls. Like, so that was already that much money, plus putting money away, like, and just everything, like, you know, obviously living expenses, car, but yeah, I mean, I saved a lot of money as well.
Any creepy experiences as a ring card girl? Because I can imagine from the boxers to fighters to everyone that's there.
No, I kind of loved it, because it was all entertainment, and like, it was always, back when I did ring card girl, it was like, we used to wear G-string. You see photos of me, like, I was in a G-string, stripper heels, and it was all about showing your body off and like making the guys whistle and wanting to entertain. And do you know what I mean? They were all lively, like, you know, whistling out at me, and then when I get out of the ring, or wanting to take photos of me and stuff. And then it's funny because I did that for 10 years. So then when I actually changed and went into boxing, all my fans that was a fan of me with ring card girl, they all become my fans as a boxer. So I had a lot of fans from that as well, which was really cool, and they were supporting me.
Good stuff. I'm going to skip some of the stuff out because I know you've covered it in other interviews.
Sorry.
So one of the first time I actually saw you personally was when you fought Carol Earl, I think it was, which is kind of mad, really, because obviously on one hand you've got this female who's happy to kind of show everything, not everything, but
it's such a contrast. Yeah.
So, and you got a woman wearing a scarf, obviously a Muslim female. So it was crazy. It was like the most random fight ever. I remember seeing the fight. Subconsciously, were you thinking that? Obviously, when you stepped into the ring, you're thinking, I'm completely the opposite here. What was going through your mind during that fight?
Oh,
because that was your fight before the Shannon fight.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that I need to smash this bitch because she's in my way. I don't care. I don't judge anyone for for what you look like, for your race or your religion or whatever. Like, I don't judge anyone. You're that person in front of me and you're in the way of my goals. And a week before that fight, Eddie called me about the Shannon fight and asked me if I wanted to have the fight. So in a head, I was thinking, I better beat this bitch, because if I don't beat her, then I'm not fighting for a world title in 4 weeks. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that was it. Like, I mean, I thought it was a good sales thing, to be fair. Like, you know, being a businesswoman, when the fight got announced, I thought this is great for sales. This is a great marketing thing, because you've got like such a contrast of two people. So that's more what I was thinking about, the business side of it. But yeah, as a person and her being Muslim, nothing at all, I had a lot of respect for her. And unfortunately, you know what the world's like. When I posted the picture, our poster, she got a lot of shit. Everyone teasing her about her scarf and talking shit about her, and I stuck up for her because I'm like, this woman is so strong. She's doing things like she's an idol or an inspiration to other Muslim women, because she's in there with a scarf doing this. Imagine how many Muslim women looking up to her thinking, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. And I just so I had a lot of respect for her, and she had 42 professional Muay Thai kickboxing fights. She was fucking tough. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was like a serious fighter, you know, and she'd had 3 fights, 3 wins and 3 knockouts. Like, she could fight, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like I supported her and I thought what she was doing was amazing, because I have so much respect for people that do something that's different and go against the grain and what people expect.
Well, up until that fight, I'll be honest, I'd never heard of Ebanie Bridges, and I remember speaking to you on Instagram, and I still remember till this day, because I followed you around that time. You had 300 followers, something like that. I don't know if you remember that or not. So leading up to the Shannon Courtney fight, you had about 3,000 Instagram followers.
No, I was more than that. It was about 35,000.
Was it 35? Okay, I might have knocked off 30,000 then.
Yeah.
So it was around that sort of figure. And I remember speaking to people in the media, and they obviously saw the Carol Lil fight, which wasn't, I think you sent me a couple of clips, and they were like, oh, she's going to get smashed. She's slow, she's this, she's that. This is what people are saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, that fight was fucking fierce. That was like a fierce fight.
Yeah, but the Carol Lil fight, yeah?
Yeah, the Carol fight, yeah.
So based on what people saw there, and they were like, this is a gimmick, she's not going to do anything. We're going to the Shannon Courtney fight, you were an underdog leading up to the fight, and the scorecards, I know 2 judges gave it 92-98, but the 94-97 was a bit more realistic because the fight was very, very close. You showed something completely, like, you showed something that nobody expected. You showed a woman that had a really bad eye injury, you fought through, you hurt Shannon, she hurt you, but you kept coming back, and nobody expected that.
Yeah.
From you. I think that was the biggest thing that stood out for me. Forget the skills, forget everything. You showed
the heart.
The heart,
Yeah. I mean, look, like, I've always been referred to, even because I always do my camps in Philadelphia, and when I'm in Philadelphia, all the Americans call me a blonde Mexican. Do you know what I mean? Because I just have so much grit and determination. And I knew that's why, you know, I never feel like I have to prove anything to anyone, because I know that my boxing proves itself. That's like when that O'Connell talking shit, when Courtney was talking shit, when everyone was talking shit, saying that I'm just this and I'm just that. I'm like, I don't need to go out and put sparring videos of me knocking bitches out. By the way, you can see that on my OnlyFans, of me knocking girls out and sparring. But honestly, like, I don't need to. I know what I do in the gym. I know what I do in sparring. My sparring partners know what I fucking do to them. And I don't need to go and put it out and be constantly proving myself, because I know once I get in that ring, they'll see. And I knew with that fight, as soon as these people see me fight, they'll be believers, because you can't deny me. And I just knew that. You know, if I was not confident in myself, or I didn't think I was as good as a fighter as I was, and the kind of fight style that I have, because it's very fan friendly, then I probably not have been like that. But I just knew, and I didn't need to prove myself. I've never felt that I need to prove myself with words or whatever, because I always prove myself in the ring, and I continue to do that. So yeah, I just whatever.
Just talking on that, what you showed, heart, determination, the will to win. You've done that a few times in your career, because I know you broke your ankle.
Yes,
you broke your ankle. You had the horrific eye injury against Shannon. You had a bust hand recently.
Twice.
And all 3 of them fights, you've kind of gone in as like kind of an underdog with no experience, and against women who've been boxing for years. Yeah. I know Shannon Courtney's not done it as
but still,
O'Connell.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and I wanted to speak to you about that will to win, where that desire comes from. But I don't think I need to ask you that, because I know where it comes from. It comes from the period of your life that you don't want to talk about. Yeah,
definitely. I think just that no quit attitude, like, and just knowing that, like, I just got to give it my all. You know what I mean? And I just know nothing can hurt me. And I also know that, especially in boxing, you've got, say, the world title, you got 10 twos, it's 20 minutes of your life. And I'm all, pride is forever, pain is temporary, pride is forever. And I'll go out with my sword, I'll die in that ring. I'll die in that ring before I quit, you know what I mean? And God willing, I have a corner that if they really think I'm in danger, they'll do the right thing. Because I would never do it, I would never ever quit. I don't give, I don't care. I just can't, I just don't have it in me. Because I've been through so much, I've been through hell and back in my life, and nothing can break me. No one can break me. No one can say anything, like I said, like sticks and stones, like with that fight with Shannon O'Connell. You can all talk as much shit as you want about me, but none of you know me. She doesn't even know, she hated me and she didn't even know who I was. She didn't even meet me, but she hates me and she's judging me. But I know my story. I know what I've been through. And so that gives me confidence, and that makes me just think, and with all the trolls and stuff, and I just think, none of you know fucking shit. You don't know nothing, but I have been through hell and back 1,000 times to become the woman I am now, that I am so proud of and so confident, because it's taken a lot of work, and I've been through so much to become like this. And I don't care what anyone else thinks, because I know what I've been through, and they don't. So why can I let anyone say anything about me that doesn't know who I am? The only people that can talk shit about me or that might affect me would be my family and my very close friends that know about me. But they don't, because they are also proud of me. So the people that don't know me, they can talk as much as they want because they don't know anything. People sit here and they're like, oh, I've been through this, I've had this hard, and Ebanie has it easy, and you don't know nothing.
That desire, that will to win, that refusing to lose, you've seen fighters talk about it for years. The common saying is you're either born with it or you're not.
Yeah.
You can have all the skill in the world, but if you ain't got a heart, you ain't got a heart. So tell me, does that heart come from your experiences as a teenager, or is it something you was born with, or has it always been there?
I think it comes from a few things. I think obviously my teenage thing, but I think also bodybuilding, my coach in bodybuilding, and just the mindset that you need for bodybuilding. With bodybuilding, it's, I do everything intense, and it was like every rep counted, everything you do, like you got to work till failure. Fatigue's not an option. You got to get in and you got to lift, and then once you've got through that set, you got to do a drop set, and then you got to do partial sets, and then if you're on a treadmill, I've got to do 3 hours of cardio a day, and if I don't do 3 hours, then when I get on stage, I'm going to be fat, and like I don't want to sit there on stage, come second, and be like, fuck, I should have done that extra half an hour cardio a month ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just that mindset that's drilled into you, that was probably drilled into me from my very first bodybuilding coach, Arena Manta, who is so hardcore, that gave me that, like, you can't, there's no excuses. You just got to do it. You got to do what you got to do to be where you got to. If you want to go somewhere, no matter what, there's going to be so many things that you don't like. But if that's where you want to go and that's the process, you just got to do it. And you just got to make it happen. And it was just like, I've had to actually, not pull back, but as I've gotten older, obviously, because I'm old and my body's not the same, I've had to change my mindset just a little bit, especially in training, where I'm not pushing myself through things that aren't necessary. Because I used to always push myself through injuries, because I'm like, nah, because like even my first boxing coach, Arnold Barroso, same thing. Like, you can't just go in a fight, oh wait, time out, I'm tired, or oh, time out, my foot hurts, or you can't do that. I was brought up in boxing from my first amateur coach, showed no weakness. No physical weakness and no emotional weakness, because as soon as you show a little bit of weakness to your opponent, you're fucked. And that's so true. So I was brought up with that in my boxing from my amateur coach. So when I was training, if I was tired or if I was hurt, I always remembered, you can't show any weakness. So that's when I get tired, I do the opposite. That's when I put my foot down. So when other people are getting tired in that ring, mid-rounds, end rounds, and I'm fucking tired, I'm thinking, no, you can't show that. So then that's when I get my second win, but it's not even an act. It's just that I can't show that I'm tired, because that's weakness.
You're like possessed.
Yeah.
That's what I picked up from the last fight.
Yeah.
You were like a woman possessed.
Like, I came out in the 5th round jumping around like Manny Pacquiao feet, like, because I was just like, you know what, no, I've got to get this. And you'll hear it actually, and I heard it because I watched the thing. You'll hear there's this part in, I think it's after the 5th round, and my voice is going weird. And Mark was talking to me, and I said to him, he goes, hey, feeling blah, blah, blah. I go, I'm fine, I'm just warming up. And I wasn't really, I was tired, but in my head I'm like, I'm just fucking warming up, this is nothing. And then I went out to him, I go, should I go do Manny Pacquiao? As in go do my little bouncy feet. Because that's showing my opponent that I'm full of fucking energy and that I am just warming up. That was just the warm-up rounds. Now you're fucking dead. you know what I mean? And that's like when I snapped my ankle in my first fight. In the first 10 seconds, I got clipped and I snapped my ankle. And when I got up, all I could think was like, don't fucking show any weakness. And now she's got to pay. And now she's fucking dead because now she's fucked. And when I get hit, you get hurt. Like when O'Connell hurt me in that first round, I didn't fucking step back. I thought, oh, now you hurt me, you're fucked. You're fucked. Do you know? Because that's just the mindset that I have. And that's a mindset from my first amateur coach, you know, to show no weakness. And even that emotional, like, you know, you see it in some fighters, they get emotional in the ring. Shannon O'Connell was emotional as fuck in that fight, like leading up to it, so emotional. And then like when I'm holding her, you could see her, like I watched the fight back and you could see it in her face, and I could see it in her face. And as soon as her hair fucked up and her braids were falling out, I thought, oh, she's fucked now. Because her hair's fucked, she's fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know you was 8-1 to win by stoppage?
No, I didn't see.
8-1, that's a lot. That
is it? Yeah.
Very wide. And then you kind of explained, you know, where that mentality comes from, and I wanted to highlight that, and I'm going to sum that up at the end when we wrap up. I just want to quickly touch on the fact that obviously you gave up you had a long relationship with your boyfriend in Australia. Tell me about that conversation when you decided, right, fuck this, I'm going to have to leave Australia and set myself up in the UK. Was he expecting it? Just tell me how that conversation went.
Well, I'd been travelling back and I was travelling a lot the last 2 years, obviously through COVID and stuff because of the fights. And we've been together for so long, like 10 years, you know. And he knows what I was like. He met me when I was bodybuilding, and he knew that mindset that I had, that I've always just been like this with my goals. And, you know, obviously he's loved me for it, and he encourages chasing your dreams. And he knows, he understands the sacrifice. He doesn't like boxing. He didn't really like boxing, but it's more so because boxing came first for me, because my goals always come first. Even though I love him, he knows when I got a goal, it comes first. And he didn't want to travel with me, and I had to travel. And I'd go overseas, and then it was COVID, I didn't end up coming back. I was only supposed to go for 4 weeks. Well, not 4 weeks for the Shannon Courtney fight, and I was supposed to come back, but then all of a sudden COVID, I got stuck over there, didn't I, for like 6 months. And then I was just like, okay. And then every time I came back, and I was back for 3 weeks, and I just hated it. And I said to him, so then I ended up going overseas, finding an excuse to go back overseas. I think I watched Porter versus Crawford fight. And then I said to him, well, while I'm there, I might as well pop over to the UK for a couple of weeks. So then I was gone for another month, and then I came back, and he just knew. I think deep down he knew. How can two people be together when they're not together? We're just living two completely separate lives, and we love each other so much, and I'll always love him and he'll always love me. But he knows who I am and what I'm like. And when I decided that I wanted to move, and I decided that I needed to move to the UK to chase my dreams, it was a choice obviously between love and dreams. And I just thought, I have this thing, you know, everything happens for a reason, and the opportunity that I have now with this dream, it's, you know, I mean, he's a beautiful boy on paper, like perfect, you know, like he's like mega, like, you know, anyone's dream man, except not for what I was doing and what I needed to do. He didn't like the spotlight. He was very shy, you know, but like just very stable, a lot of money, a lot of beautiful family, everything like that you'd want, but not if you're someone that
husband material, basically.
Husband material. Yeah. Like ticked every fucking box. Never said a bad word to me. 10 years we didn't have one fight. You know, it was great, but it just wasn't what I needed for my career. And I didn't expect him to give up his whole life to follow me over to the UK, where he has nothing there. He has a beautiful family, beautiful home. And so it was more about, you know, I love him so much that he deserves better. He deserves a woman that wants to be at home with him and wants to be with him and have that family, live on the farm and beautiful family time and whatever. And I deserve to be able to chase my dreams and have someone hopefully by my side that wants to enjoy the light with me and enjoy what I do. He's not like that. He's super shy. He wouldn't even want me to put a picture on social media with him, you know what I mean? Like, and that's fine, that's how he is. When he met me, he didn't date the blonde bomber, you know, 10, 12 years ago. I wasn't like that. He doesn't expect that. He didn't sign up for that.
Ebony Bridge is the teacher.
Exactly. You know, so he, like, just a normal kind of girl, like, that was ambitious, but not like what I bring. So it was very hard for me because I knew I had to do it and I didn't want to hurt him, but I just had to keep reminding myself that if I drag this on any longer, it's just holding him back from finding someone that's good for him, that can enjoy his beautiful life with him, and holding me back as well. So I went home and I told him, and I just said to him, look, and he pretty much said to me, you know what, honestly, I was just, how much longer is it gonna, like, he said, I didn't think it was gonna take you much longer before you said you're gonna move over there, because he just knew. He knows me.
What did you say to him?
I wrote him a letter.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I wrote him a long letter, and
the reason I'm asking, I want to see how Ebanie Bridges deals with the difficult situation outside the ring, because I know what you do in the ring.
No, I wrote him a really long letter because I didn't want to. Because every time we talk confrontational, he'll get upset. Because I did mention it to him before, as in when I came home once before, I said, I don't want to be here. Like, I just fucking hate it here. I don't want to be here. Like, in Australia, I just hate it. Like, my life in the UK is so different. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'd ask him to come over, but he's just not interested. So he knew that I didn't like it there. You know, it doesn't feel nice for him to be hearing that his girlfriend's saying, I fucking hate living here. Like, it's not nice, you know? Anyways, so I wrote him a letter or whatever, and then I left with my best mate, and I said, I just got a letter there for you to read. When you have time, read it, and I'm going to be out, and I'll come and we'll talk about it tonight. And then, like, 5 minutes, he goes, I read it, it's all right. And he goes, I was expecting it. And he goes, honestly, I didn't think it would take you much longer before you ended up leaving anyways. I knew it was coming. He goes, I didn't even think you're going to come back this time, because he just knew, you know. But all he did was support me, because he loves me, and he knows that. He said to me, look, you're right, you know, like, what you're doing and what you've become, that's the best thing for you. And I don't want to hold you back from being successful in your dreams, and if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. And he was super supportive, obviously upset as you would be, because we're both 35, like, this at the time we're 35, like, we've been together for so long, and now it's like, great, now we've got to find new partners, and because I want to have kids, and he wants to have kids, but it's like, he's not the kind of guy to go out and he's not like that at all, like, to go find a woman and have a baby, like, he's not like that. So, and now it's like, is he going to be alone forever? And that really hurt me, because he's such a beautiful human and man that I think, now the thought of him not having kids and not having a wife, it hurts me, because he's so beautiful, you know. But I have to look after myself. I can't stay with someone just because I'm sad that he might not do that. That's not my problem, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but he was very supportive. He helped me, you know, packing up, and, like, you know, we love each other, and, like, we always have that, but it was just, we both loved each other enough to understand and be like, it's best for us not to be together, because
and you still have, like, a friendship type?
Oh, definitely. I speak to him all the time, every week, or he was so beautiful. My fight week, like, sending me a message every week, more supportive now that we're not together, because when we were together, I don't think he wanted to overly push me and motivate me, because the more he pushed, the further I would go. So it was almost like, because he hated the boxing, because it takes me away from him. So it was like, as much as he supported it and he let me do whatever I wanted, he didn't want to encourage it, because the more he encourages it, the more I go. But now, like, I'm not here, it's like he's very, very encouraging, and it's nice, you know, but yeah.
Brilliant. And then you made the step, you come to the UK, obviously you signed a deal with Matchroom. I remember speaking to you at the time, and I always got the feeling that you felt like you wasn't getting the respect or the recognition from Eddie, especially.
Oh, yeah.
And just tell me how that relationship's developed from that moment to how it is now.
Well, I was the first Australian to sign with Matchroom back last year in April. And I didn't get one mention. There was no, hey, welcome to the team. Like, there was nothing like that. And then all of a sudden, the end of last year, all these Australians, and he's doing all these welcomings. And I'm like, wait a second, like, are we ever going to announce the fact that I signed a contract, like, you know, 7 months ago for, like, a 6-fight contract? Like, you know, so whatever. It's just, I don't even know. The relationship's good, you know, like, Eddie's, you know, especially this last fight, you know, he really did some mega movements to get me to win that purse bid and to do that. So I'm very pleased and happy that I was able to demolish Shannon O'Connell like that, because her and her team and that whole fucking situation gave us both fucking headaches, because I was supposed to have a voluntary, which I was well deserved of as a fucking new champ. So I was happy that I was able to beat her up like that for all of us. And, you know, Eddie's a good guy. He's always supported women's boxing from the start. So, you know, our relationship's good and it's solid.
Good stuff. And then in the build-up to that fight, especially on the weigh-in day, when you announced the OnlyFans thing, nobody was expecting it. And I remember reading the tweets, and the general consensus, I'm sure you will have seen this, was,
probably not.
Oh, she's expecting to lose this fight. That's why she's
got a
backup plan.
No.
And I'll be honest, the first thing came to my mind, like, is it what's happened here? Because I always thought she's going to do this after boxing, not now.
Yeah.
So I didn't think you thought you was going to lose, but I just thought...
It's funny, because I actually got locked out of my Twitter. I got locked out of my Twitter after my weigh-in, so I didn't get to see all of that. But I knew in my head, I was like, I bet you everyone, all of my trolls and haters are going to be like, she's done that because she thinks she's going to lose. And I did it because I thought, what a perfect fucking opportunity to announce my OnlyFans. One, against this bitch who thinks I'm a skanky stripper. So I'm going to just rub it in her fucking face with like the most sexiest lingerie. And then two, my weigh-ins go viral every single time. Over 20 million views across the fucking globe. I get an article in every single country, in every single language, a picture of me and my weigh-ins. It goes viral. That many videos on YouTube. So it was just a business move. I thought, how else am I going to get my as in my name on OnlyFans to go viral? Perfect, my weigh-ins. And not even more perfect because it was against her, who fucking hated the fact that I was the way I was. And I thought, it's gonna rub it in her face and she's gonna fucking hate it. Because because every photo she's seen with me at my weigh-ins is gonna have my OnlyFans on it. So it was like a bit of that, you know. And also I obviously worked with OnlyFans. OnlyFans, you know, we've partnered, so they sponsor me. It wasn't like I'm going to OnlyFans and I'm making a lot of, they're paying me, you know what I mean? Like, besides my subscriptions, like it's a sponsorship. So, I mean, I could have announced it earlier or a different time, but we put the rush on it because I was like, I want to announce it at my weigh-ins. And that fight was getting a bit of traction because of the rivalry. So it's just business move, really. And I knew I wasn't going to lose because I just know I'm not going to lose. I'm going to be undisputed. So it's like I knew, and I also knew I was going to beat her anyway. I knew she was going to be tough, but I just knew I had everything better.
And you know, you say that, and a lot of fighters say them sort of things before build-ups of fights, and you kind of think they're just saying that just to give themselves self-belief. But having known you for a while now and seeing how you fight and the injuries you've kind of fought through, you're fucking telling the truth.
No, 100%. Yeah, but you know, it is a process though. There is a process to it. It's like at the beginning of my camps, whenever I first get I'm matched up with an opponent, that's when I get the nerves and the anxiety and oh my God, what happens if I lose? Or like, they're doing this, they're really good at that, and like, I've got to not get hit by that, and I've got to watch this, da 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 da. So I go through the negative like a natural human. I go through the negatives for the first couple of, maybe not even, do you know what, it depends. It could be a week, it could be a day, it could be whatever, but I get all those thoughts into my head and I get it out by the beginning of my camp. So then the rest of my camp is purely focused on winning, and I'm going to win and win, 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 win. I don't even think she could do this, she could do that. What happens if I lose? Oh my God, da 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 da. I don't think like that. I'm going to win. I'm going to win because I've just filtered out all the negative. I've filtered out all the what ifs at the beginning of my camp and all the self-doubt at the beginning of my camp. So then I've got this whole, by the time I get to the fight, I'm just so confident because all I've thought about is winning. My voice is so weird. Where I know for a fact, Shannon O'Connell and some of my other opponents and losers in general, people that lose that aren't the same, they think, they play on the whole, I never get anything, oh the negatives, everything's always hard for me, I never get what I want. What happens if Ebanie beats me? Oh my God, if Ebanie beats me, like it's gonna ruin me. I can't lose to Ebanie. I can't get knocked out to Ebanie. I can't let her win. Oh my God, and so much pressure. I can't lose, I can't. But all you're focusing on is losing. And losing against me. So you're manifesting that loss. You know what I mean? I didn't even think once, oh my God, what happens if I lose to Shannon O'Connell? Oh, I can't lose to her because she's called me this, I need to win. No, it wasn't. It was like, I'm gonna win because I can win, because I know I can win. I've watched her, I know what I can do, and I know what her weaknesses are. So I'm gonna win. And that's the only fucking option. Like, no matter, I'll do everything I can to win. The only way that I could ever lose is if I got knocked out fucking cold. And I don't even think about that, because if I start thinking, what happens if she knocks me out? Then I start manifesting that. And that's what a lot of bad people do. She would have 100% manifested that fucking knockdown by accident. She would have been like, fuck, what happens if Ebanie hits? Because she knows I'm strong. Everyone's told her how strong I am. She's sparred some of my ex-sparring partners. They would tell her how strong I am. She could be sitting there, fuck, I hope I don't get knocked out. I bet I can't get hit by that right hand because she might knock me out. Happened to me in my very first fight. My very first pro fight. I was very nervous, obviously. And I learned from that. Because all I could think about was like, oh my God, I'm on pay-per-view TV on a Tim Tszyu undercard. What happens if she drops me? What happens if I get knocked out? Because I've never been hit by 8 ounce before. I'm like, I can take punches in sparring with the headgear. I've done amateurs, it's fine, but I've never been hit by fucking 8 ounce with no gloves. So I was thinking, oh my God, the last thing I could have is get knocked out. Like, I don't want to get knocked out. Like, I don't want to get knocked out. Like, don't get like, and then the first 10 seconds of my fight, I got hit cold, I got dropped, snapped my fucking ankle. And then after that fight, I realised I fucking manifested that.
You got back up on one?
Yeah, I did. I got back on one. But what I'm saying is, in my head, I'm thinking it's like when you're walking, it's like, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. You trip. Do you know what I mean? Like it's whatever you're thinking happens, negative or positive. And that's why I'm in so much belief that you got to really think the positive stuff. Winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners, or focus on losing. Do you know what I mean? They think too much about, and I truly believe that. She would have had so much anxiety, and a lot of people like that lose, they think too much about, they put so much pressure on themselves about not wanting to lose. What they need to be focusing on is wanting to win and making sure they win, not they got to change the way they think. And I truly believe that because that's what I do, and I win, and I'm going to keep winning.
And you definitely have done that. And with the success you're going to get from OnlyFans, obviously I'm not going to sit here and ask you how much your bank balance is, but it's going to attract a lot of money. So what is your post-boxing goals, and what does Ebanie Bridges going to spend their money on? How are you going to retire? Have you got a plan in place?
Yeah, after boxing, what I really want to do is obviously keep spreading my message. I really would love to do like motivation seminars. Ant Middleton, I don't know if you saw him, he was at my fight. So a good friend of mine, Ant Middleton, he's kind of inspired me as well because he does motivation seminars where he goes around, talks to a big crowd of people and inspires them and tells his story. And I want to write a book about my life, obviously. So I just want to continue to inspire people, and just spread my message. And I want to obviously still work in boxing. I'd love to do commentary. I love boxing. I'm a student of the sport and I'm a huge fan of boxing. So anything that I can do in boxing, I want to be on TV, whether it be commentating or presenting or whatever. I'd really love to manage fighters, guys and girls, but I just want to help because I've been through so much and I'm fucking smart. I got here by myself. I did this by myself. I've got people.
As you're saying that, we spoke about it earlier, you've done this in 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
It's people.
Well, not even 2 years because, amateurs didn't really count, but yeah. I had my first boxing fight 2 weeks before my 30th birthday. That was my very first amateur fight, so it's like, yeah, but that's just, it's just my path, isn't it, my journey.
What are you going to spend that money on though?
My money, I'm not a spender, I've just told myself that I've just told myself, but my friends as well. I didn't really know what I was going to spend my money on. I'm already in the top 0.01% of earners in OnlyFans in a week. So obviously I've got money, but
Between cars, houses.
No, see, I'm not even into cars and a house. Obviously, I'm going to buy houses. I need to talk to someone because I was not expecting this. I was not expecting it. I was expecting to make good money, but not what I'm making. So I think houses, maybe shares or currency. That kind of stuff. But I don't know.
There's nothing in particular you would treat yourself to think, I've got all this money. It's one thing I've always wanted. So there's nothing that in life that you always wanted that you...
No, it's more about I want to buy my brother an engine that he really wants. I want to give my parents money. I want to help people. That's what I'd rather do. I was just talking to Nicola Hopo and I'm
Another thing I want to say is, and I know you're not just saying that, because some people just say that just because it sounds good.
Well, I was just talking to Nicola Hopo, one of my good friends, and I want to sponsor girls for fights as well. Do you know what I mean? My friends, I see, I just know what it's like to be where they are, and I just want to help. I saw Beck Connolly put up a post the other day about wanting sponsorship. She's charging only 150 fucking pounds or 250, I think it was 150 pounds for a fucking patch on her skirt. That's what the fuck? So I want to give back to the girls. I want to give back and so I would love to. I told Nicola I'm going to sponsor you for your next fight. I'll give these girls money to help them with their fights because it takes money to get where I am. I was lucky that I had a lot of money saved and I also had people believe in me and gave me money, but there is fucking no way I would be where I am if I didn't have the sponsors to pay for my flights overseas, because Eddie didn't pay for my flights overseas. Come over for camps when I was doing camps in Philadelphia to fund my food while I wasn't working, and that's all sponsors that do that. Do you know what I mean? And so you do need that backing.
And
so
you repaid them big time with the
exactly
on your brand.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to be able to help the other girls that I see so much potential in. Because I can help that, and that's the kind of person I am. I'm not really a money person. I'm not a materialistic person. I don't care for fucking brands and cars and shit like that. Of course I'll buy houses and stuff, but I did say that for my win, I'm going to buy myself a grand piano, a proper grand piano, because I've always wanted a grand piano. So that's my present to myself, and they're 10 grand minimum, for a nice one. So that's going to be my first real like material gift that I'm going to give myself. But other than that, like I don't care. Like I don't need to buy brands or wear Gucci, or I don't need all of that. But what I would like to spend my money is on traveling and experiences. So if I go on holidays, like of course I'm going to fly business, and I'm going to do, because those things is what I like to do. Do you know what I mean? Spend money on experiences. I don't care for materials or help, like I said, help my family. Or my brother said that he needs to get a loan for his engine for his car. He has a Charger, and he wants to get, it's like 15K or something, and he's telling me that it's going to go back, it's going to cost him like, it's going to take him like 7 years to pay off. I fucking, mate, I'd rather just give him the money, you know, or half the money, and say just pay me back, like, so, because I don't want to just give, people need to work for it as well. I don't want to just be like a handout. But like if I can give my brother a lot of money, like half of it or more than half, and then just say, okay, well, $5,000, you just got to pay me back, no interest, just pay me back. So he still has some responsibility. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You still need some responsibility, and that, but I'm still helping, you know, like little things like that, buy my mum something, or like that kind of shit. That's what it's not that I don't have a thing for money, but for me, that's what brings me pleasure, not a fucking bag or a car. As I drive in a car, as long as it gets me A to B, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Anything else you want to add, Ebanie?
No, not really. I mean, I think I've babbled on enough, you know, but hopefully his hand heals fast, and I can get back in the ring and healthy and go on to being undisputed, you know, and which I truly believe I will. And I've been saying it since I became a world champion, you know, so... Yeah.
Good stuff. And I hope if people have watched this far, just as a quick summary on your life, from what I've read and heard, from the age of 30, you was basically just working a job where you're just getting by.
Yeah.
So in 6 years, you've gone from that to bad injuries, broken ankles, broken hands, broken bloody eye sockets, whatever, to not far from probably becoming a millionaire in 6 years. And then people obviously wrote you off, the way you present yourself, you know, the whole lingerie thing, etc. But you've done yourself proud, and I think you should really look back in this, not your whole life, but the last 6 years. It's truly remarkable. It's a really inspirational story. So
thank you.
You should be proud of what you've done.
I am, and you know, I truly believe this, and people can call me big-headed for it or fucking whatever, you know, I've got a lot of haters, but I truly believe that I'm going to be an icon. And I do believe that I've already become a bit of an icon in boxing with what I do, and I think I'm only going to continue to be like that. And Trailblazer, trendsetter. People are going to remember the blonde bomber, and it's not just because of the weigh-ins, it's because of the way I fight as well. I'm going to be like a fucking Ashura Gaddy that people are going to love watching my fights, and you know, exactly. And for me, it's all about entertainment, and it's about inspiring and helping the next generation. Do you know what I mean? If I can do that, then that's pretty special to me.
When I interviewed you post-fight, I think I said to you that was a bad BRTC performance. One of my friends messaged me, and that's what he said. He said, Ebanie's a bad bitch. And he meant it in the most complimentary way. So, obviously I don't want to leave it on that note, but I'm saying you're a badass, and I'm really proud of what you've done.
I'm a fucking savage. Thank you.
Ebanie Bridges, thank you. Have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too, thank you.